Okay, now we come to a breaking point. If you've done your spending plan and if you've taken an appropriate amount of payment to service your debt obligations, and as long as you've got some positive cash flow left, then congratulations, you can now exit this module and move into step 3 of directing your cash flow engine towards your debt. However, many of you are just breaking even, and some of you, quite honestly, have a negative cash flow and are not able to develop a positive cash flow. And we need to look at a way to fix the cash flow so that you can actually succeed and stay in the middle class. There's 3 ways to do it. You can earn more money, you can spend less, or you can use a debt elimination tool. There are debt elimination tools to accelerate your ability to get out of debt. However, each of these tools come with a set of pros and cons, and we need to evaluate each tool and the pros and cons of each tool to determine exactly the right tool to use. The most important thing we can do, though, is to develop that positive cash flow every month on a consistent basis. So even if there's some negatives associated with some of these tools, you'll find that overall it's going to be worth it, because otherwise you're just doomed to bankruptcy every 7 years and start over again in bankruptcy 7 years and start over again in bankruptcy every 7 years. It doesn't sound like a very pleasant alternative. So let's take a look at each of these tools. Let's figure out which tool is necessary for you to be able to develop that monthly cash flow so that we can actually get rid of the consumer debt. On this slide, we have an overview of the tools that are available. The first bar is the minimum payment tool, which means that it just represents what amount of money it would take to take care of a fixed amount of debt, let's say $20,000. That's the amount of money that it would take to satisfy that debt on a regular minimum payment basis. The next bar involves traditional credit counseling. In traditional credit counseling, through some savings, you actually can get out of debt for less money. The third particular bar deals with debt resolution, or what we call debt settlement plans with an escrow. With those, you can actually get out of debt at even less total cost with the associated pros and cons. And then the last step is bankruptcy. And bankruptcy, there's actually 2 types for families, and there's the Chapter 13 and the Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And unfortunately, you don't get to choose which of those 2 it is based on your financial situation, and what the courts do, they will decide whether you're in a 13 or a 7. So let's take a look at each of these tools and see which tool might be the best fit for you, because we need to develop that positive cash flow in order to continue to move along in financial success.